Now this is the EVA-1.
Yeah.
This is a short film we did. It was a hell of a lot of fun.
Yep.
Shot at an art gallery. You were operating, I was shoot, I was DP. Georgina was directing. It was a really cool little experience.
And this was the first chance.
Your first shoot with the EVA-1.
Yeah, and I really wanted to know what it was going to be like. And obviously, as you can see here, I had to use a viewfinder because one thing, when I was doing some testing with Noel Evans in the day before I got launched, the first thing we discovered is the LCD monitor outdoors, you can't use it, you can't see it.
Interesting.
It's too glossy. And
this is the problem with bloody flip out monitors outdoors. I mean, you know, the Blackmagic, for example, you know, okay, you know, if you don't have a viewfinder on it, what are you going to do? You're going to pull the flip out. So what? I have been out on location with that camera where I've been putting black cloth over my head, looking like an 18th century photographer, going, what is this? Is just ridiculous. But the only way I can actually see the picture is to put a jacket or a cloth over my head. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, we used to do that with the 9-inch monitors. The directors, remember the old CRT 9-inch monitors? If they didn't have the lens hoods, So the solution I found to this, I've got a different solution now. The camera is somewhere which I'll grab. But for this, I grabbed the viewfinder from my LT.
Oh, so you got the LT viewfinder and
put it on there. And guess what? It actually talks to the camera. It's got less features, but it does actually talk to the camera.
You got a viewfinder, that's the important thing.
Yeah.
So that's the LT viewfinder in that picture.
Yeah.
You know what? When we were shooting that, for some reason I didn't even quite register that you put the LT viewfinder on.
But to do that, I had to power the viewfinder. So I had to then construct the camera into this rig, this Frankenstein rig, which we used to call from the 5D days, to be able to power the viewfinder. And once you start building it, they go, all right, I'll put on the map box for filters. And we also had the Shogun there as an additional monitor and the video transmitter.
Interesting.
And the handlebars for any handheld stuff. But look, it worked a treat. That viewfinder has got a BNC input.
It's a great viewfinder. I mean, it's a really, one of the big advantages with the VariCam is how good that viewfinder is. There's you, and also you had to put a fair bit of stuff on the camera, so you had all of that. We also were running to an external recorder as well. But you know, you're up on a pretty light tripod there, so you know, it's not like a big, massive, heavy package. So that's one of the good things
even built up as
and
it
it's
is.
probably worth pointing out that in terms of ISO, it isn't 5,000, it's 2,000, right?
2,500. So
2,500. But that's still pretty high.
That is still pretty high.
And it's very clean.
Yeah, better to have it than not to have a dual native ISO.
Absolutely. And so meaning that we could go into this location, which is an art gallery, we could, and we were just lighting this with a handful of battery-powered LEDs. I mean,
which we've got here.
Well, what have we got there? We've got one of those...
Cineroids on the right there.
And it's those new flexible... I can't remember the exact brand name, but
Let Go.
I think that's it. And they're flexible and they're waterproof and they're light and they have an amazing output. But you run them off a battery.
Yeah, the V-Lock battery. How good's that? So that's the advantage about using these very sensitive cameras these days. Is you still need to light.
You can't
do
not
good
light.
work. But you don't need large lights just to get an exposure.
Absolutely, and that's a real advantage. And so, what it means is that I mean, we did this whole shoot in a gallery, and we pretty much used, I think it was 4 battery-powered LED lights, if memory serves me correctly.
That's correct.
And that was pretty much it. So it's pretty amazing that you can do that. That's one of the real advantages, I think, of VariCam.
And what would you say a main ISO indoors was? I can't remember what I
think it was 2,000.
2,000, so one under
I think we pulled it down a bit.
2,500
I think we did, didn't we, from memory?
So the internal codec of the camera at the moment is 4K, 150 megabit 10-bit 422, but it's a long GOP.
Right. Okay.
I think this month...
Do we want to explain to people what a long GOP is? If there's people who are...
Yeah, that's right. Long GOP stands for long
group of pictures.
Group of pictures or photos.
Yeah.
And which means it compresses over 12 frames, not over each individual frame. So it means even though your file size has become smaller and the compression is higher, it means in post you need a faster computer to be able to find out where each of those individual frames is, so decoding that information.
So would that be why we ran to an external recorder?
I think the external recorder was only as a backup in HD.
Right, okay. Well, I will say one thing about the camera is that 2500 ISO, boy, that helps you. I mean, and that was very clean. I mean, there was almost no noise, because in the movie, what we found with the 5000 ISO with the 3200 base is we still had to run neat video and do a bit of a denoise. Now, it wasn't a massive thing, but we still had to go and knock a little bit of noise out. Which, nowhere near what you would have had to do if you'd gotten, another camera and shove the ISO up to,
with a base of 800 and then gone to 3200.
That would have been a catastrophe. But I felt that what I saw, and in fairness, we haven't had a chance to grade that job yet because I haven't totally finished the edit. But
you mean this short film?
The short film.
Yeah.
But I got the sense from looking at the images, and when we saw it projected, when we had that little crew screening, I got the sense that it was a bit cleaner at that high end. Than the other two Vericams.
Possibly because this is a new sensor.
Right, okay.
This is a 5.7K sensor, whereas the other ones are 4K.
There you go.
That's why they didn't call this a Vericam, because it's a totally new sensor technology.
Right, but it's still got the high ISO.
Yeah, and the 14.5 stops of dynamic range. I'm pretty sure that's the case. But it's a 5.7K sensor.
So that's probably why it did look a little bit cleaner.
Probably, because the photo sites are small. And that's why they can only get it to 2500 in the second native ISO and not 5000.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
In March of 2018, they're going to bring out new firmware that's going to open up all the intra codecs at 400 megabits instead of 150 megabits.
Wow.
And
for internal recording?
Internal recording, yeah.
So does that go to the P2 card, Express card as well?
Yeah, Express P2 card, or any V90 speed card, V60 V90 speed class. There's a new nomenclature now to grade the speed of cards, and it's V30, V60 and V90. I think you probably want to use either V60 or V90 for that codec. And it means your record times get shorter, and you need those fast UHS2 V90, V60 cards. But it's good to be able to do that internally. And basically having intra-codecs means you don't need you can edit on a laptop, you don't need that fast computer to decode the long codecs.
So we had a bit of Vericam experience last year. The other thing we did was the National Theatre, Australian National Theatre live production of the play at the Malthouse Theatre Away.
Yeah, there's a Michael Gowles.
We switched roles on that one. You were the DP on this one. I was operating. God, it was a fun day though. I had a ball on that job.
Yeah, you had, along with Lewis, who we got here? We got Noel Evans from left to right. Noel Evans, Lewis Pillai. There's me. There's the sound recorders. Yes, Greg, I think. I forget his surname. There's you, David. And Aldi, who was doing a camera. And we had George Panner at the back, who helped us out with the video switching. There's Peter Hiscock in the background. And I think he was the director. And I think Grant Dodwell was taking the photo.
That's right.
Here. And Penny on the right there was our assistant, and the other guy there, I've forgotten his name, I do apologise. He was also our assistant. But we had 6 Vericams. I think did we have 3 Vericam 35s and 3
LTs?
LTs,
Where did you get all these cameras from?
Well, I own the LT. Noel had an LT.
Right.
Aldi had a 35.
Aldi's got a 35.
And then I think we got the other 3 cameras from Rob Myers from Panasonic, who helped us out.
Rob has been absolutely great.
He's been fantastic, and that's one thing I love about Panasonic is that they do back you up.
Yeah,
so if you have
absolutely.
any problems or anything, they are there to help.
Well, you
help
actually
mate.
have had conversations with the engineer, haven't you, from Panasonic?
Oh yeah, Taka Mitsui, who came down to.
Because I remember ringing you up, for some reason, and you were in the car with Rob,
that's right.
and so Taka and somebody else.
Yeah, Noel. We're up in Sydney.
You guys were in
Sempte.
Sydney. Yeah,
Sempte, I think. Or I think we had we're at the AFTRS. We had a day where we were showing the Vericams to various people.
So tell us about the challenges of this production.
Well, matching the cameras and.
God, that's right.
Yeah, and my theory is using the same sensor, because all 6 cameras between the LT and the 35s, they have the same sensor.
Yep.
So that's one tick.
Yep.
The other tick is using the same lenses.
Right.
Because as you know, each lens has its own characteristics.
Absolutely,
Some are warmer, some are cooler, some are contrast. Yeah. So by having
that can create a lot of problems in color grade if you've got a cool lens and a warm lens.
Exactly. As we found even on the barbecue.
Absolutely.
Because we were mixing sphericals and anamorphics.
Well, because we were also doing a lot of like pickup shooting and doing some stuff with G5, and so that means that evening all of that out in the grade is quite a job.
Yeah, that's right. So I knew matching sensors and matching lenses is going to get us 80 to 90% there in the grade. And you know what, Peter and Grant said that using the Vericams and in this configuration, and just applying the stock standard Rec 709 V-Log to Rec 709 LUT, basically they don't need to grade very much, if at all.
I'll tell you what one of the big advantages from my point of view on this this shoot as a camera operator was because Lewis and I got the short straw of being right in tight on a long lens.
You guys had the 80 to 300
That's
Cabrio
right.
lenses.
So we got a 80 to 300 mil Cabrio zoom, and we were pulling our own focus.
That's right.
For 2 hours the production rate?
120 minutes.
110
minutes.
110 minutes of constant operating and constant focus pulling.
Yeah, that's
on
right.
the long end
Quite
of the lens.
You guys did an amazing job.
It was a challenge, I will say.
Yeah.
But one of the things that helped us is the high ISO enabled us to be stopped down a bit, so that we could get some depth of field back.
Yeah, that's right.
Doing that on a wide open
on the 35mm camera, struggling.
You would have been struggling.
So again, there's where another situation where the dual native ISO comes to your
Can
aid.
be real handy.
Yeah.
Mind you, those lenses were so good that it was so smooth.
That's right, because they are really made for an ENG sort of configuration. So the turning circle for the focus isn't like a normal thing where rotation 200 degrees.
No. It was so smooth, so that really helped.
Yes.
When you're doing it by yourself, and
you need shorter throws on the focus.
We didn't have we didn't have like a focus,
follow focus,
regular focus wheel. It was hand on the lens.
Yeah.
So it was like this, leaning over in a seat.
Yeah,
like this for 110 minutes.
But the zoom demand came in handy because it meant that hand can take care of the zooming and that focus and irising. How did you find with the irising? I mean, these shows, that was another advantage.
You know what? I don't recall making many changes to the iris at all.
Because I think
not we. You had found like a kind of sweet spot for exposure for this, hadn't you?
Yeah. I think we averaged around 5-6.
I think it was about 5-6
because there was a lot of, as you can see, dark scenes. And
this was a dark scene, but remember when this thing lit up? Remember how bright it got?
It did get pretty bright on the
So, and
day.
I think that's why we were sitting around 5-6, and that's where the dynamic range and the high ISO, and it must be said, those lenses really helped.
Yeah, it was a perfect match, and we learnt a lot from that shoot.
Yeah.
So we had 2 cameras off to the side, each side, one shooting a wide and tight, cross shooting basically, and we had 2 cameers in the middle, one shooting
wide and tight. You had a couple of
GH5s
just up getting wides.
Yeah, getting alternate wides, maybe even that. No, I think that's probably Oldie shooting that wide shot there.
I think Oldie was getting that wide and I was in the tight from
You
that
were on
side.
the mid shot on that,
that gives you an idea of the layout of the stage. Yeah. So these actors are pretty much wandering all over the stage. We had 6 cameras.
Yeah.
But no, there was actually 8 by the time you took into the
2 GH5s, which I think we had one to the right there, just on the side stage, looking back at the audience a little bit, and one up on the rafters looking down.
That's right.
And they would just lock off.
Have you seen the DCP of this?
I have not seen the DCP, but I have seen the footage at home when I've put the standard Rec 79.
How'd it look?
I was blown away. If I go to this shot here, this is me trying
so that's where they were switching between the cameras?
No, this is Final Cut Pro 10.
Oh, really?
And the beauty about Final Cut Pro 10 is that if you create a proxy file as you're ingesting it, or even after you ingest it, make proxy files of the 4K, because we shot this in 4K, that you're able to edit. How many cameras have I got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, plus the sound from the sound recorders. 8 cameras. I'm able to switch them.
Wow.
And it's amazing on a laptop.
Wow.
On a RAID drive, of course, but having the ability to turn those into proxy and switch the 4K images is just amazing.
Crazy.
So looking at that, I was blown away by the images, and that's just basically got a standard Rec 79.
So that's just a lot. I mean, even just for what I can see here, it looks incredible. So
exactly. So I can't wait till they finish it and they actually release it, and we have a screening at the cinema. I'm dying to see
it's going to be great to see it, and it's worth pointing out too that we shot it at 24 frames a second.
24 because
it's cinema release. This came up in conversation just earlier.
Yeah.
Why do we still shoot 24 frames a second for cinema?
Well, my belief...
I'm putting you on the spot.
Again, you always put me on the spot. And so I was going to say, no, you're wrong again, Con. But anyway, as far as I understand, and I could be wrong, but my belief and understanding is that anything we still do for cinema, the standard is still 24. I think the DCI standard is still 24 frames. So if you shoot anything at 25 or any other frame rate,
they will convert it to 24 for the
because
DCI.
For the DCP.
DCP, sorry. Yeah.
Because I think that is the cinema standard. Now I know because of digital projectors they can project anything. Yeah. It's not like the old
days. That's what I was curious about, because I was thinking, given that we're now in the age of digital projection in cinemas, well, why not now just go 25?
Well, because I think the whole thing about the Digital Cinema Initiative is to set a set of standards for digital projection.
Right, and so they've just traditionally kept 24?
That's right. They said, right, we'll just keep
But is it tradition, do you think?
It is tradition because we've always had 24.
But, you know, because this is what I'm puzzled about, is if there's not a technical reason for doing it, if it's just tradition, why not just make it 25 and then everybody can just happily transfer across to,
the thing is, it's a conversion then, isn't it?
Yeah.
From 25 to 24. So something can go wrong
there. If you're going to stay at 24 for the DCP.
Yeah, if you shoot in 24... and they make a 24p DCP, then there's no conversion, there's no mix-up with audio.
But I'm just thinking of going back, going to the process afterwards where you're getting all your delivery items and you're going to go out and go to TV and Blu-ray and DVD.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in Australia or England or Europe, you're going to go to 25, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is that yes. You probably will have to convert, but I think traditionally they always said the beauty about film was shooting film at 24 is it's easy to go from 24 to 30, 24 to 25. Mm-hmm. It was like the universal standard, and it was easy to go. But if
maybe that's why they've kept it.
Maybe that's why they've kept it.
Because people are used to doing that.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe all the post facilities are set up for it. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe someone can stick a comment in the comments on this
and
go, is anyone out there who actually knows? Make a comment. Yeah.
Make a comment. Yeah. Because I think going from, like when we used to get TV shows from America to play here, and they were shooting at 30 frames.
From NTSC.
NTSC. If they were, especially if they were tape-based sitcoms, they'd have to convert it to 25 here. And do you remember seeing some shows actually skip?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, because they were line dropping or frame dropping every so many frames.
Really?
And then it'd catch up and you'd have this horrible mismatching cadence or whatever. So, going from 30 to 25 is hard. But, if you shot in... like a lot of shows in America, the sitcoms were actually shot on film, weren't they? Friends were shot on film.
They were all shot on film.
In a multicam
35 mil too.
35 mil too, which is makes a lot of sense because of the longevity.
We may not have enough time to get into storing data here.
Yeah.
So, given that we've been, we've had our 3 productions that we've discussed with the Vericam.
Yep.
because maybe we've hit close to wrap it up time.
Yeah, yep.
Any final thoughts on the VariCam from you?
Final thought, I love the look of the camera. As you can see here, even in low light, the skin tones, the colours are subtle, they're realistic, beautiful skin tones. I love the colour palette of the Panasonics, the VariCams in particular. Even the EVA-1 is matched very well to the VariCam, so you can easily use it as
you could use that as a B camera?
B or C camera, yeah, very easily, or an A camera. Yeah, I love the look of the Panasonic and the VariCams and the EVA-1. Yeah, and I'm sure you would agree. And the dual native ISO. What DP doesn't want to have that up their sleeve?
Oh yeah, that for me was a real. It was kind of like, okay, I think this is going to be a real aid in terms of what we're doing. And I agree. I like the look as well. There's a pastel-y quality to the image where if you want to get those saturated colours, you can crank it up.
Yeah.
But out of the box, it's pretty. It's got a nice subtlety to it.
Exactly.
It's a little
straight out
more,
of the box.
to my eye, it was a little more like film stock.
Oh, interesting.
Or how I remember film stock looking when you project it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's exactly the same.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it was reminiscent of that. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
In terms of its look and feel.
Yeah.
For me, that's what I liked.
And when they came to making a 4K camera, and they were a bit late to come to the market with a 4K camera, the first thing they thought of doing is, people love the original VariCam look in the original VariCam, which was 10, 15 years ago, and they wanted to stay true to that look, that particular look, whatever it was that had.
That's interesting.
They want to.
So did the engineer tell you that?
Yes, the engineer told us that. Taka told us that they want to continue that legacy. And that's why they called it a VariCam, like the old one, which was a 720 camera.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever used that more than once, but I remember the camera.
I've talked to a lot of DPs who remember shooting on it, and they loved it when this came out. They said, "Oh yeah, I remember shooting on the original VariCam." They used to love it because it was the first, I think, video camera to actually shoot progressive.
Oh right.
And to have this filmic look on a tape-based camera.
Because it was tape-based, wasn't it?
Tape-based, yeah. And it was the first camera to do 60p on tape.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah,
I remember now. Yeah. I shot a short film on that camera.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. The film we did was black and white, but what we needed to do some slow-mo, and we did do 60. Yeah.
And apparently you had to use this external box in post to extrapolate the flagged frames, or I don't know, to make use of the 60 frames.
Right. Yeah. Well, I just remember we had cassettes, tape cassettes, digital tape cassettes.
DVC Pro cassettes.
That's right, DVC Pro. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Well, there's a trip down memory lane for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So would you shoot VariCam again?
Yeah, absolutely.
Your experience has been good. I definitely would. And our video has been a little long, but I've really enjoyed talking with you.
Yeah, well, we certainly covered a range of topics, so that's good.
Yeah. Well, I hope people have enjoyed us talking about our experience with the VariCam and the EVA-1, and to a certain extent the GH4 and 5. Thanks for joining us. So, Dave, would you come on Camera Peeps again and talk to us again?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I can't wait till the next time. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and catch you on the next one.
Thank you.